There we go. All right, try that again. Okay, so welcome in. Today we are doing pork tenderloin. It is National Blueberry Pie Day, but we are not making a blueberry pie because my family doesn't like blueberry pie. They will eat peaches. So we're going to do a peach blueberry crumble, which actually goes very well with pork. So we're going to get this pork started because it's got to cook a while. So I've been working on that. You know what I did forget to get out? Would you get out the Montgomery and barbecue sauce, please? One of the things, and I'm going to have to kind of wing this, because I'm going to leave this on for a minute. But if we don't have any up here, you might have to go downstairs because we should have a bottle downstairs. Your father may have finished it off. My husband loves that stuff. So the thing is, pork tenderloins come in. Hey, Ella, hello. Pork tenderloins come in packs of 2 in the United States. I have one that's a little more than a pound and one that's a little less than a pound. And when I have that, I make them 2 different ways. I make one that is barbecue. Actually, I'm going to make the smaller one barbecue. And I'm going to make the larger one Asian inspired. So this is kind of a really easy Asian sauce to make. So I'm just going to go ahead and take this off and I'll use another one. So into this, we put some soy sauce. And I've done this enough that I can just kind of do it by eyeball. So we do soy sauce, we do some rice vinegar, and I will taste it to make sure it tastes right. And then a little bit of sesame oil. How you doing today, Ella? Hopefully well. This is some sweet chili sauce that I add to it. I'm not a big spicy person, so I don't put a lot of it in, but that's why I get the sweet chili sauce instead. Then a little bit of ginger paste. Yes, you could use fresh ginger. That would be fine. But this is just easier. I have fresh ginger. Just for speed's sake, we're not going to make that today. And my allergies are kicking up, so you will probably see me grab the tissues a few times so I don't embarrass myself on camera. But anyway, I'm going to put this up here for just a second so I can rough chop this garlic. And I'm going to pop that in there. Yes, it's a lot of garlic, but we like a lot of garlic in this house. You do you. If you don't like as much, you don't put as much. And as far as the ratios, it's the same thing. It's you're learning what works for you. So I'm actually going to put a little more of each, I think, in there. I'd like to have a little more sauce than that because I also use this for cucumbers, like to make a cucumber salad, an Asian-inspired cucumber salad, and just, oh, so good. Just a little more of each one, I think, except for the ginger. I think I'll leave that where it was. And then I'll taste it after I blend it up. And today I got smart. Remember I said I was going to get a fan? Well, I did. Okay. You know what? I'm going to close the lid on that and let it just kind of slide down a little bit. It's got just a little bit left and I'll need to get some more. So a little bit of honey. We're going to take our handy dandy immersion blender and use that. Okay. I'm going to try this one more time. Hopefully I can't squeeze it. Hopefully there's enough down there. There we go. Get that last little bit. All right. So I'm going to put that to the side. That one's empty. Rinse my hands a little bit. Okay. And like I said, we're going to rough chop that garlic just a little bit more. It'll get much more chopped up when it's in there with the immersion blender, but I'm not going to worry about it being fairly rough chopped. Piece looks a little suspect, so we're going to... There's that one. It'll probably get pulverized, but just in case, we're going to pop that in there because we want to get this pork in there as soon as we can. All right, now it's going to get a little loud. So, hello, welcome in. Currently making an Asian marinade, or sauce, if you will. Because we're making some pork tenderloins. All right, one more time to try to get that garlic good and chopped up. I'm telling you, if you don't have one, get one. These things are great. I have a link for the similar to what we have. Okay, so is it Ochins? I'm sorry. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I'll say it right. I'll do my best to say it right. I'm not going to assume anything. But a fit kitchen. I love that. We're working on making our kitchen a little more fit. So, all right. So that's the first one, and I'm going to pull out a fork here. And I've got my pan prepared already. I've got some foil underneath for easy cleanup later when it all drips down there. And I'm going to take this nice big pork tenderloin. We're going to put it on here. I'm going to put it at an angle a little bit because it's a pretty big one. And then we're going to get our brush. I love having all that stuff right there. There's other things I'll forget, but at least that stuff is right here. And then I'm going to brush it with this wonderful sauce. And the sauce has, just for those who may have just come in, we're making a pork tenderloin. I'm making it 2 ways. This is generally how we do this in this house because in the U.S., pork tenderloins tend to come 2 to a package, and we freeze ours right away. So, all right, I'm going to pour a little bit of that on there. And then we're going to flip it back over. And I'll pour a little more on there, especially like down there. Okay. All right. Then we'll put that to the side. Let that sit for just a minute. I'm going to rinse this off real quick. And we're going to grab this little guy right here. This one's a little smaller, and the oven that I'm about to put it in, the front cooks a little bit slower than the back, so we'll put that one in the front. Let's see here. Brand new bottle, which I didn't realize we needed until right before stream. So, all right, into the bucket. Lots of. This is a local brand. It is known nationwide by a lot of people. It's a very different kind of barbecue sauce. There are, if you know anything about the U.S., everybody has their favorite. This is something that like Southern barbecue people wouldn't necessarily be in favor of because it's a very sweet barbecue sauce. But it's, again, something local. It's something my husband loves. And so if he loves it, I will make it for him. I don't mind it. And he will put a lot more on after we cook it. But this will just help give it a little bit of that barbecue flavor. And then he'll warm some up and dip his pork tenderloin in there. So pork is something we are trying to eat a little less of, or in moderation kind of thing. This will be dinner and several lunches for us. So those are ready to go. We're going to pop those in here. So we're going to put the big one towards the back. Normally you would do about 350, and like I said, they're about a pound each. So we're going to go, we're going to bake. We're going to go at about 375, and normally it would be 20 minutes. We're going to do about 23, make it 25, I think, for this one, because it doesn't cook quite as hot. So I'm going to do some quick rinsing up. All right. Trying to do a little better with the keeping up with what I'm doing and rinsing things off so it can just go right into the dishwasher when I'm finished. That gets to go to the side. Then, again, like I said, it's National Blueberry Day. And actually, it's National Blueberry Pie Day here in the U.S. My family does not like pie. Or they like pie okay, but they also are not big fans of blueberries. Now, I'm still going to use some blueberries, but right now, this is just a can of peach filling. And I had a can of peaches that were in water or light sauce. I can't even remember what they were in, but I drained those to add to this. I don't need this to be huge. There's just 3 of us. I don't want it around for days. I will be making a gluten-free crumble topping, so we're going to do that here in a minute. I'm going to rinse my berries. These are rinsed. These are pre-rinsed, but I'm going to go ahead and rinse them anyway. I'm going to do about, this is what, 16 ounces, I think. We're going to do about half of one of these. Pull out the stems and bits, but these are nice big blueberries. So I'm going to just give these a rinsey rinse. And then I'm going to grab a paper towel and dry them off so they're not all drippy. I'm going to put that in with the pie filling. By the way, this pie filling is very sweet, so I don't need to add any sugar whatsoever. But I will, before we make the crumble top, I'm going to add just a little bit. That's the nutmeg. Ooh, we don't want to overdo the nutmeg. Hey, Christy, I am doing well. I hope you're doing well too. We had some storms here last night, but it's a beautiful day today. But I am going to add some cinnamon. This is all beautiful, and like I said, we'll mix the blueberries in, then that'll be palatable for my family. And then we're going to make ourselves a crumble top. The other thing, this crumble top, you can add almonds to it. My family doesn't like nuts in their food either. I do, but they don't. So if I want them to share, I have to kind of watch what I'm doing. So I'm just trying to spread out some of those blueberries so that they're evenly dispersed, if you will, and get that little blueberry flavor without it being overwhelming. So we've got that. I'm going to rinse that off. Move that over there. like I said, and Chrissy's been around for a while, so she knows. Made a lot of messes, and my poor husband comes home and he helps with the dishes, and I feel bad. But we are going to put that aside, and then I feel bad because he does just do so much around the house when he gets home, and I really appreciate him for that. So what we need is, now here's the thing. A lot of people will tell you that oats are gluten-free. Hi, Carol. Welcome in. A lot of oats are processed in places that wheat is also processed. These are gluten-free. They say they're gluten-free. I've never had a reaction to them. So I just wanted to share that if other people have, let me know, but I have never had a reaction. So let's see, I need a half a cup of oats for this crumble topping. And I'm not sponsored by anybody yet. Can't say I wouldn't like that. Yes, I do feed him well. And I was just saying, you know, he doesn't like blueberries, and it's blueberry pie day. So I'm not making a blueberry pie because he wouldn't like it. He wouldn't enjoy it. And then I'm going to use a low sugar. Well, it's a no sugar. It's this brown sugar, just to keep the carbs low. My husband is a type 1 diabetic. I was a type 2. Now I'm back to borderline. So I'm still considered a diabetic, even though my blood sugars are much lower. I was looking today. I was feeling a little discouraged. They seem to be a little higher than I'd like them to be. So this is a third of a cup. Make sure I'm at a third. Ooh, there we go. And so I was a little discouraged, but then I went back and looked at where my blood sugars were a year ago, and I'm 20 to 30 points lower than they were. My morning blood sugars tend to be a little high, but the rest of it I think I'm doing okay with, so that's great. And that's what I found out. You know, people don't know. You don't know what you don't know. And one of the things that was interesting was finding out that I tend to have my highest blood sugars in the morning, and then as soon as I eat, it starts to even itself out. So that's good. But that's why I'm using this kind of brown sugar. And for those of you who are new, I'm gluten-free. So not my favorite thing to be, because it would be so much easier not to be, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do because it feels better to not be sick. Really and truly it does. So being sick from your food is just not fun. And it was interesting because I don't have celiac. I'm a non-celiac gluten sensitive person. So that is, the blessing of that is generally with a small amount of cross-contamination, I'm not too bad. But the longer I go without eating gluten, the more sensitive I get. So, hi, Kathy. Welcome in. And nice natural homestead. I like that. I like that so much. Because, you know, we like being nice, right? Oh, nice little cloud there, right? I can be so messy with flour. My poor husband, when he helps me clean up, I'm like, I'm sorry. He's like, I'm used to it. I'm like, yeah, but I'm still sorry. Okay, then we've got, like I said, you could put almonds in here. It calls for about quarter cup, excuse me. I'm not going to put it in because, again, I would like my family to eat this. So this is how we get them to eat it. We don't put the nuts in. So nuts, and they don't like raisins. And okay, here's a little thing. Thursday is National Raisin Day. I'm using raisins on Thursday, and I I told them I'm going to make things with raisins, but you're not going to really know they're there. So we'll see how that goes. So yes, for sure. For sure. We always have a protein with something sweet. So sorry, my allergies are wild today. So yeah, we try to prioritize protein. This is about a half teaspoon you're supposed to put in. And so I hear or I read that Ceylon cinnamon, which is different than Saigon cinnamon, which is what you usually get in a store. This is just a dash of nutmeg. Supposedly the Ceylon cinnamon is supposed to help with blood sugar as well. So, but yes, we tend to put our proteins with our sugar. So, which is interesting because that means, you know, if you use some whipped cream, it actually has some protein in it. So you're more likely to stay balanced with a little. You don't want overly. We use the stuff in the can, or I do, because of that, because it's got a little less sugar and a little more protein. So mixing all that up, and then comes the butter. So quarter cup. We don't need a lot. Oh, there it is. I was like, where'd my butter go? I already put it over here. And yes, we could cut this in. We could make it, you know, cold butter, all that stuff. I just don't have time for that today. We don't keep our butter cold. We keep it in this, and that keeps it from going icky. But again, I learned from Europeans. They all keep their butter out. Everything's good. I buy European butter, so it's made differently, and it's actually made to be more stable. So it doesn't have to be refrigerated. So just a quarter cup, not too much. And then I will stir that in. Put that in the sink, put that away, because I won't, well, I might need that. I haven't decided yet, because we're going to make some red cabbage to go with this wonderful pork tenderloin. That's something, I don't make a lot of red cabbage, but that's something we want to do, is to add more veggies in to our diet, and different kinds of veg, because you get tired, you know? You get tired of the same stuff all the time. And I don't know how people eat the same vegetables all the time. I'm going to pop on a couple gloves and try to mix this in this way. So yeah, you're talking about that. My husband and I will be married 33 years. And even today, his sister called me. And I jumped on and said, look, I'll call you right back, because she had called me earlier. I said, I'll call you right back. I'm on the phone with your brother. She's like, okay. So when I called her back, I said, look, he was not in a good place. And he wasn't. His blood sugar was down to what we would call dangerous levels. He was at work. And the two people that I used to call to keep an eye on him have both retired. And it just occurred to me when he said that. When he said, I could hear he wears a pump and he wears a continuous glucose monitor. And I was like, I don't have anybody to call at work anymore to keep an eye on you. And he's like, you're right. And I said, yeah, my people have retired. So he said, well, I'm going to bring you in and I'll introduce you to a couple new people, and you can call them. They'll take care of me. And I was like, okay, good to know. You know, because the one thing I tell people, I'm like, he isn't sleeping in his office. If you find my husband sleeping in his office, he's not sleeping. Please call 911. So it's been interesting with having the kids and stuff like that, and them learning what to do. And I've done this for so long. The last time I had to call a squad, I did exactly what they do on dispatch. I was like, my husband just turned 60, and this was 5 years ago. And I I said I have a 55-year-old non-responsive male. He is a type 1 diabetic. His blood sugar is low. I need a squad as quickly as possible, please. And they were asking me questions and, can he speak? And I said, no, he's below 30. So I need them to get here quickly. And I was talking just like I'm talking right now. And finally the guy says to me, ma'am, are you okay? I said, I'm fine. I've been doing this for over 30 years. I said, I just need you guys to get here and I'll be, we'll be good. So anyway, so you get kind of to that point where it's not like, it may sound to other people like you don't care, but you just know what to do. So they're like, I know what I need. Get these people here and we'll be fine. And I've had arguments with people because my husband does things that are like physically impossible, they tell me. If you've ever dealt with anybody who's diabetic and they go into low sugar, usually the first thing they lose is their speech. They just sound like they're drunk. And that doesn't happen to my husband. My husband can literally carry on a conversation down to about 25. And I had okay, so that's 11. This is going to have to go for about 30 minutes. So we'll have to go another 20 when this is done. But I had someone that came with a squad, and she said that. She said, she asked me what he was, and I said, he's 25. And she's like, that's impossible. He's talking to us. I said, I'm telling you, he's 25. And I said, if you don't believe me, take his blood sugar. And she took the blood sugar and she went, oh. And I said, what's it say? And she said, it just says low. I said, how low does your meter go? And she said, 30. And if it's below 30, it says low. I said, okay. And I went and got his meter. Sure enough, he was 25 and he was answering questions. And I'm like, yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? He could tell you. And we had to change the questions because we used to ask him a battery of questions. And, like, who's the president of the United States? What day of the week is it? Those kind of things. And he had these answers that he prepared. And my favorite one was, we had to quit asking him what day of the week it was because we'd say, what day of the week is it? And he'd go, today. You stinker. So anyway, so we are going to do some red cabbage here. Now, I live in an area that is very German. So we are going to make I'm going to get my cooker out, and I'll move that into the screen here in just a minute. But also going to plug that in. I always plug that in below. And I'm going to plug it in. My husband put a very long, oh gosh, I know the name of it. It's escaping me. Long thing with lots of outlets in it. But he put one on. I have a bunch of outlets right here on my table so that, like, for holidays and things like that, we don't have to worry about sounds like we don't have to worry about plugging a bunch of things in everywhere all over the place. So, but I'm going to put this right here for now. And again, I'm going to go with the onion first. So tell me, does anybody have a zip strip? That works. So you know what I'm talking about. Oh, goodness. But do you have a way that you eat red cabbage? Because what I'm about to show you is a very German way to do it. So that's what I learned. A lot of things I see red cabbage in are raw. And I am not a huge fan of raw cabbage. So, I mean, if it's super, super thin for like a coleslaw, that I don't mind. But red in particular, they seem to put it in dishes where it's cut, it's not cut finely at all. And I don't want big chunks of cabbage. That's just not something I enjoy. Now, for this particular dish, I won't like dice up my onion super fine. It's not necessary because the cabbage won't be super fine, but it will be fine enough, if you will. So yeah, my bigger pieces of onion are going to be like that big. So, hi Trudy, welcome in. Welcome in. We're making pork tenderloin. We're making a peach blueberry crumble, which is already in the oven. Right now I'm chopping up an onion and then I'll chop up some purple cabbage or red cabbage, depending on what you want to call it. And we're going to kind of put a German theme on it because I am part German, part English. I always say if you go like the northern arc of Europe, that's me. I'm the whitest white person ever, DNA wise. It's not interesting. It's just not all that interesting, to be honest with you. I have a niece who has 19 different admixtures. I think that's the coolest thing ever. She's native North American. She's native South American. She's got African. She's got Middle Eastern. She's got Mali, which I think is a cool one. She's got Japanese. She's got European. It's wild to look at her admixture. And she is, and she said to me one day, she's like, I can't hate anybody because I'm everybody. I said, that is so true. That is so true. You are a little bit of everything, which I think is really cool. I think that's like, I feel like that's the most American thing ever. She is the American melting pot. So I adore her. I adore all my nieces and nephews, actually. I love being an auntie. I love being a mom. I love being a nana. That's a fun one too. I'm finally figuring this thing out. So we're gonna toss some oil in there. Let that warm up a little bit. While we're waiting for that to warm up, I'll just cut the little chunks off here. So yeah, if you've got a great way to make this cabbage, I would love to hear it. This is the only way I really know to make it. I guess I could roast it like I do other cabbage. It's just, I don't know. We've always done green cabbage instead of purple for things like that. So I'm actually growing cabbages this year. I'm going to try. Last year, whoa, the cabbage worms got me last year. And I didn't realize they were cabbage. I didn't realize which caterpillars made the cabbage worms. And I thought it was so cool that I had all these butterflies in my garden. And in about 3 days, all of my kale, my cabbages, all of it was just gone. So I have covers on them this time. Everything's covered up for a while until we get it a little bigger and I can get some more chrysanthemums. And I need to get some of the some of those good flowers in there that attract pollinators, but makes the cabbage worms and things like that stay away. So I'm kind of new to gardening. My dad had a garden when I was a kid, and I used to have to pick the cabbage worms off, and I hated it. So I was like, I'm never going to have a garden because I'm not going to make my kids pick cabbage worms. Oh, goodness. And by the time I realized I had cabbage worms, all my stuff was gone last year. So that was awful. But oh well, live and learn, I suppose. So I think we're going to turn this up to get these onions started. It was very disappointing. So, hi, Olivia. Hi, Ruby. Welcome in. We are making a pork tenderloin. We've got that in the oven. We're making a peach blueberry crumble, which is also in the oven. And we are currently working on our, we're working on our cabbage. And I think, okay, I got 2 minutes till I got to check this. I was showing everybody yesterday. We got a new meat thermometer, instant read. This thing, I really like this. As soon as you open it, it starts. It also tells you on here what everything should be, what temperature everything should be for it to be done. And so I think that's great that we don't have to like look it up. So I forgot if that, actually, you know what? I'll use this guy. So I don't have to. Sometimes we just make do, right? So we're going to make do with this. It's a small one, but it'll be fine. So get those onions spread out in the pan so they can start to do their thing. And then I'm going to pop in some of this cabbage. Let it start to cook. You know, they say we're supposed to eat the rainbow. I like blueberries, so that's my purple fruit. And this, like I said, we're trying to eat healthier. We're trying to eat more vegetables. This is one I know my family likes, or at least my husband likes. My son is not a big fan of what we call hot slaw. So, what I'm making, hi Sandra, what I'm making is a version of hot slaw that we make. It's a German slaw. It has cabbage and onions and some apple cider vinegar, a little bit of sugar, and then I'm gonna. I used to call this cheating, but you know what? I'm just making it simple. That's what we're gonna call it now, because you know, some days we just don't have the gumption to make a pound of bacon when we're doing all this other stuff. So, okay, so I'm gonna check the pork. It just went off, and we need it to be 145. So let's see how we're doing with that. Yeah, the little one's done, which is no surprise. The big one is close, but we're gonna put that in for a few more minutes. Wipe that off. It's at like 141. So we are going to pull the little one out of there. Got to grab some tongs. So we're going to pull the little one, let that sit for a minute. We're going to start this back up. We're going to take it for 5 more minutes. Actually, I'll make it 6. Hopefully that'll do the other one. We'll let that one sit. Finish up this cabbage in the meantime. You know, it's funny because cooking for you guys, that's the biggest challenge, is trying to have everything come out at the same time. When I cook for myself, I don't really care about that. But cooking for you guys and trying to do it in a certain amount of time, that makes it a little more of a challenge for me. So there's that. And then I got that one little last piece, and then we'll Actually, I'm going to give it a little stir while we're waiting. Yeah. And then we have varying degrees of, my husband can eat cabbage raw. He loves it. And so I can keep that, I can cook that to the point where it's just beyond raw, and he'll think it's wonderful. I need it to have a little more give to it, if you will, which is interesting because for a lot of other vegetables, I'm just the opposite. We're both just the opposite. I can eat like asparagus. I like for it to still have a little crunch to it. He doesn't like it that way at all. He doesn't want it to be like floppy, but he doesn't want it to have a crunch to it. I can do the same thing with green beans. I can eat them when they're almost crunchy, and he doesn't like them like that. So to each his own. But we find our way. So actually, I'm going to go ahead and just wash that off real quick. All I used it for was the cabbage. That's what I will slice my tenderloin with. Man, I use every knife in this house when I'm cooking for you guys. All right, pop this last little bit in. And again, this only had vegetables on it, so I'll use it to cut the meat when I'm ready to cut it open and show you guys how good it looks. So yeah, see, Ruby, I can eat them raw too. So like I said, everybody's different, I suppose. But all right, so there's our beautiful purple cabbage cooking up here. And then I'm going to go ahead and use this just because I have it here. I'm going to get about a quarter of a cup of apple cider vinegar. Again, we're using a lot more of that. Just I would use this anyway in this. And this is something like, if you look at the recipes, a lot of them will tell you to do this separately. We don't. We just like it that way. It's also easier. They'll say to sprinkle the sugar over, then pour the vinegar over, and then serve it that way. And we've had it where the sugar just doesn't really dissolve, so that's no fun. So, you know, it's funny, Ruby, you talked about the green beans being raw. I was telling you guys, my dad he had a garden when I was little, and peas off the vine are usually so sweet. It's almost like eating candy. I used to love stealing those and like the little tomatoes. So I'm gonna add in a little bit of garlic powder and then a little bit of onion powder. I know I've got onion in here, but onion powder tastes different. So we're gonna put a little bit of that in there. I'm gonna stir that up. Now, if I don't put enough sugar in this, then I will definitely, you need enough sugar to, not to completely offset the vinegar, but to just take the, for lack of a better word, take the sting out of it. So, and we've just found this works better when we mix it together. So, everything's starting to get cooked, starting to smell good. Does anybody else like the smell of cooking cabbage? I know some people don't like it. I like it, especially with onions. I think it smells delish. So, okay, I got 24 seconds, so I'm going to wait because I want to stir this thoroughly when I put it in. So I'm going to check the pork tenderloin real quick. So, hi Mary, thanks for coming in. So, all right, grab my UGG glove. We're going to check that other pork tenderloin. One of them is barbecued, and the other one has an Asian marinade, or yeah, marinade, I guess is the best thing to call it. Got to switch gloves, sorry, switch hands. All right, be done. Please be done. We're still in the 130s. Right there. Interesting, it's less than it was. That doesn't make any sense at all, does it? But I can tell when I poke it, it's not done. Wait a minute, that says 148. That's crazy. And that's 147. Okay, we are going to take this out. Pop that up there for just a sec. I'm going to pull you up on top. All right. This needs about another 10 minutes. 11 it is. All right, so we're going to put this little bubby to the side. Let it do its thing. That's something else my husband and I go round and round about, is resting the meat. So, hi Ingrid. He doesn't like to rest it because he says it gets cold. I'm like, you have to rest it or it's dry. So I always tell him I'll always do it a little more rare so he can always warm it up and it won't taste terrible. And that is something you will find when you use vinegar in something. It makes a lot of noise. So when you first put it in, you got to be really careful about taking a deep breath over it because, whoo, that can make you cough. Oh, it smells so good. I still had some sugar in the bottom, so I'm going to get that in there. All right. Starting to release some of its juice too. So that's the other thing. Some people don't like that. We like to have that sauciness to it. So, and then this goes in here. So and it's not even the whole bag because this was already open. So it's only 3 ounces of bacon, but it gives it a nice little touch of bacon flavor without putting too much more on the plate. So, okay, so I'm going to turn this down and let it just keep doing its thing, but quietly. And then I think that'll do. Throw that away. Put this over here. Put this over here. All right, so next thing we're going to want to do is clear the decks. You know what? I'm going to get a different cutting board. I want something that has a ridge in it, if you will. That way, if they release a lot of juice, I don't make too much of a mess. And I will get a couple of paper towels too. You know, I haven't, Ruby, because I'm gluten free. But I finally found some noodles that I can use as a substitute for egg noodles, and I would love to try that. So now, when you make cabbage and noodles, do you do that with? Do you put meat into your cabbage and noodles? I'm just curious because I know a lot of people with cabbage eat pork. So, and we are doing that ourselves today. So yeah, you can see they're juicy, and I know that bothers some people. And if I cut into this one and it's pink inside, we're just gonna get another pan and we'll sear it off so that it's done. So I just want you guys to know that I don't serve meat that is not good for us. So everybody's got their thing, right? Okay, so fried bacon. Okay, that makes sense. Now, there are people who will not eat pork with any pink in it at all. We will eat pork with some pink in it. Um, I mean, we don't want it raw, but if it has a little bit of pink, we'll be fine. And a lot of times we'll leave the middle a little pinker because we know we're going to eat leftovers. We're not going to eat it all in one sitting. So that will go into the refrigerator, and when we eat it for leftovers, like for lunches, we always cook it a little more. So there, that is not pink. Let me steal that. The advantage of being the cook. The end of that one's just a tiniest bit dry. But this one has, like I said, just a tiny bit of pink in there. We will all eat it that way. And I know it's done. So there's the barbecue one. Like I said, my husband will put a lot more barbecue sauce on that one. That's so good. All right. Gonna give my cabbage another stir. And honestly, I'm gonna get a little bowl. If I've got a little one in here, I don't think I do. Oh yeah, I do. I'm gonna get a little serving of this and see if I need to add anything, or I'm trying to give that other piece of pork a little while to just rest some more and reabsorb its juices. And it's starting to get warm in here. I do have a fan today, so I at least did that for myself. Got a little fan blowing on my legs, and that definitely helps. Oh, hot. Okay, so man, that's good. If my son eats any of this, I know he'll add salt. Again, if you've been around, you know I don't salt when I cook because my husband's diabetic. And what we have found is that just a little tiny bit of salt goes a long way if you put it on when you're finished cooking. So that's so good. It's still got a crunch to it, so my husband will be happy, but it's not so crunchy that it tastes raw to me. So it's one of my favorite. It's the only way I know to make purple cabbage other than regular coleslaw. So if you've got another way that you make it, love to know. I wonder if that would be good when you make cabbage and noodles, Ruby. Do you use red or green cabbage? I'm just curious. Ooh, get a drink of water here. Exactly, Christy. And that's like even when we add like tomato sauce and stuff like that, it adds a saltiness, and people don't realize that. We don't buy the no salt per se. If we see it, we might pick it up, but a lot of the stuff we buy is like I buy San Marzano tomatoes a lot because I just love the flavor of them, and they've already got salt in them, so we don't add a lot of extra. Hi, Jimmy, welcome in. All right, I know this hasn't rested as long as it should, but we're going to go ahead and pull it up. I do think it's going to be a little too pink in the middle, and this one we might have to, well, I know what we got to do first. We got to rinse this off so we can put the meat on here. Great. Man, I got through some paper towels. Okay, so there's that. This is just doing its thing very quietly. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? Pardon my reach. I'm going to go ahead and turn this off. And I'm going to put a lid on it. That'll keep it nice and warm. Put this to the side. I'm really trying to buy this thing time. What can I say? But, okay, so grab the end piece. Pretty good. Again, my husband would be asking for more sauce. Okay, so remember how I said sometimes we'll cook it further? No, these are the pieces that we will definitely eat. Actually, these don't look too bad either. That's about as pink as we go. Yeah, I'm not mad about this, to be honest. It's more cooked in the middle than I thought it was going to be, even though the juice is kind of red. So, oh, you do use the red when you do the noodles. That is good to know. Oh, that might be a new thing to add to my repertoire. Love it. So, and you do that with, you said with bacon, right? Yeah, my family would like that a lot. One of the things I missed when I had to start watching my salt was my husband does love like sausages. I mean, again, we're German, so a lot of sausages, a lot of uh, things that are processed, and we've had to kind of cut back. I'm telling you, folks, he just turned 60. I'm 63. And I feel like ever since I turned 50, life is a constant body hack. So what worked at one point doesn't work anymore. It's really interesting. So I'm not mad about that, folks. It's good stuff. I'm really happy with that. And it's not too pink. So there you go. There's our second thing of pork. I'm going to put this in the sink real quick. Got that. And now, let's see if our dessert's done. Okay. I'm hoping that it is, because if it isn't, I'm just going to put a little broil on it for about a minute. But I want to see that I'm thinking that it is. Okay, I'm going to broil it for just a minute or two. Let's make it 3. Fingers crossed. So, for the next 3 minutes, we're going to try to put it all together. Tomorrow, let's see. Tomorrow is, why can't I think of what tomorrow is? Friday is savory and sweet parfait day, so that'll be there. And I don't have my phone, so I can't tell you. I'm looking at you on my phone, so porcupine meatballs is an absolute favorite in this house. And I've made it. I actually have a recipe on my website at Gluten Free from the 513.
And so that was one of the first things I ever did a recipe for, was porcupine meatballs. And it was so funny because someone who was much younger than me, but we were peers in the blogging world, and she was like, "You made what?" And so I'm like, "It's not made of porcupines. It's called porcupine because it looks like it's got quills because of the rice." And she's like, "Oh my God, I was wondering, where in the world do you get porcupine?" She didn't say where in the world. Um, she used a much more colorful word, but she was just like flabbergasted, thinking we were like out there shooting up porcupines to make meatballs. So anyway, but yeah, that is, I had never had them, believe it or not. I tried to make them as a kid and didn't realize you had to cook the rice, or you had to use like parboiled rice. And I made it with regular rice, and it was so crunchy, and they were so terrible. I was like, these are awful. Why would anybody eat these? So, oh, cabbage and noodles with porcupine meatballs. That's an interesting way to do it. Oh, don't, my husband would probably love that. Although he's kind of a purist, and porcupine meatballs in our house are porcupine meatballs, mashed potatoes, green beans. That's pretty much, we can switch to broccoli a little bit, but pretty much that's what he wants it to be. But I never had them after abysmally failing at making them myself when I was about 14. And my mother-in-law made them for me. And oh my goodness, they were so good. And I was like, and it's such a simple recipe. The only problem is she always used Campbell's tomato soup, and I can't eat that anymore because it's got wheat in it, unfortunately. Ooh, home fries. That's a different way of thinking about it too. Ooh, oh, whatever I'm making tomorrow, I think I'm doing some hash brown patties. Some, and they're frozen and they're gluten free, which is pretty awesome. So, for the life of me, I can't remember what tomorrow is. Oh, I know what it is. Tomorrow's National Raisin Day. So we are making, they're called cookies so good you can eat them for breakfast, and they have raisins in them. It's the one and only thing I make with raisins in it that my husband will eat. Other than, we're going to make A1 burgers. And A1 has, and I got to check and make sure it's gluten free. But if not, the A1 burgers, A1 sauce has raisin paste in it, believe it or not. And we're going to make a healthier version of it. I mix ground beef, ground turkey, and lentils together, and I use it for several things. So, um, that's a good way of doing it. Ooh, I love V8. Oh, Ruby, thank you for that. That's a great idea. All right, let's take a look at this beautiful little crust. Oh, yeah. Now we're good. Now we're good. Woohoo! All right. Isn't she beautiful? Look. Just right. I got it just crispy enough without burning it. That's awesome. Oh my gosh. All right. I'm going to grab a little bowl, and I'm going to grab a spoon, and I'm going to have to wait for this to cool just a little bit. But I'm excited to try this. Oh, you guys, I'm so excited to try this. Okay. Ooh. Get a bowl. Little one. Like I said, I'm just going to get a little bowl, but hey, why not eat a little dessert first, right? Now, truthfully, I am going to, actually, I will go for the heavy blueberry corner because I like the blueberries better than my family. No, that didn't come out right. I like the blueberries better than my family likes the blueberries. Don't like blueberries better than my family. So anyway, all right. Now, truthfully, once this cools off a little bit, I will either eat it with a little bit of ice cream or I will eat it with whipped cream. So that would be my, exactly, the benefit of being the cook. You get to try some things. So, except when I'm taking it somewhere else, because then you don't want to have a little bit of it missing.
unless I'm taking it to one of my sister-in-laws and they don't care. So, okay, this is going to be so hot. I've got to be careful not to burn myself biting into a blueberry. Last thing you want to do is burn your mouth when you're eating, because then you can't taste things. Taste buds are one of the few things that grow back. Did you know that? All on their own. Okay. Oh man, it's so good. And it's so easy. It was just a can of peach pie filling, a can of peaches that I drained, mix those two together, put in as many blueberries as you want, and then the crumble on top was so simple. It was oats, gluten free, flour, um, sugar free, uh, brown sugar, and then some nutmeg and some cinnamon and some butter. So simple, so easy. What do we make that in, like 5 minutes? We had that in the oven. That would be something that would be so easy for you to make and then take. It's something you could probably make the day before too, to be honest, and take it to a potluck or whatever. If you're going in the evening, you could make it in the morning and let it sit all day. I just think the longer you sit, the better those flavors would actually taste. So anyway, so yeah, tomorrow we're making burgers. They'll have A1 sauce in them. If I find out, I have to look and see if A1 is gluten free. And otherwise, the other thing we're going to make is those cookies so good you can eat them for breakfast. They will also have oats in them. But man, these cookies are so good. And I can't wait to share that recipe with you. I've had this recipe for years. I don't even know if I know what magazine I got it out of, but it's a magazine thing. Back when we used to pull the recipes out of magazines, I've had it that long. I have that, and I have another one that I got to figure out how to make a gluten-free version of it, because it is a muffin, and it was a country singer that I got the muffin from, and she has since passed. So every time I make them, you can make a loaf, but my family prefers them as muffins. And it's instead of being a lemon poppy seed, it's an almond poppy seed. So none of my family's big on lemon. My one son is now. He has a lemon tree, so he's played with lemon enough. But so anyway, I'm going to be making that tomorrow, and I'll be making that the other one. And for those of you who are new here, I have a friend that just passed in the last month. And so a lot of what I do is kind of an homage to her. And I really want to do a lot of things in her honor and in her memory over the next year. So you'll hear me talk about her a lot. You'll hear me talk about my friend Mary. And I miss her. I miss her a lot. And a lot of what I do is to honor her. So, and part of what her son said at her funeral was go out and create community. So I want to thank all of you for being here today, for being today's community of pork tenderloin, cabbage slaw, or we call it hot slaw, and our peach blueberry crumble. I will see you guys tomorrow, same time, for burgers and cookies. We'll have ourselves a little cookie afternoon. So you guys have a wonderful evening. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Be well, and I love you. Bye-bye.